Hello friend, and welcome to this second video in this postpartum yoga series. Our first practice was all about recovery, right? Your first time back on your mat, welcoming in some movement after birth. And the second practice is going to build on that just a little bit. We're still going to keep it gentle and slow and mindful because there's so much recovery still to do. Postpartum doesn't just end 6, 8, 12 weeks after birth. And so in this practice, we're going to remember what it's like to be us in these bodies now, in these new bodies. So we will do some core integration, I promise. That's going to be in the third and final video in this series, all about rebuilding. But this practice is still about building into some bigger, more deeper movements. All right, so we're going to begin seated in a kneeling position. And I want to just give you a couple of options on how to do that. One is just like I'm doing now, right? Heels, seat on your heels. If you have a block, this can make this position a bit more comfortable. You can put it on its low or medium height, right between your ankles and underneath your sit bones. And if you know that just sitting on your shins like this is not going to feel good in your body, then maybe sit in a chair or on the bed or edge of your couch. We're just going to start with some breathing and gentle upright movements and then move on to a tabletop position. So something like this or seated on a chair is how you're going to want to start this practice. I'm so glad you're here. Let's begin and do some yoga. Let's begin today's practice by connecting with the sensation of our breath in our body. So hopefully you are in a position where you can really lengthen your spine and root down through your pelvis and your legs, whether that's kneeling on your mat or sitting on something. See if you can reach your tailbone down towards the floor and the crown of your head up to the ceiling. Draw your chin in just slightly so the back of your neck gets long. And just take a couple rolls of your shoulders here. If you'd like to close your eyes for this first part of practice to help you connect with the sensations in your body, go ahead. Good. And then bring your hands to the sides of your ribs so that your thumbs point towards your back body and your other 4 fingers point forwards. And if this feels really uncomfortable, you can also just cross your arms in front of your ribs and hold on to the side of your ribs with your palms. But I want you to find the sides of your ribs rather than the front or back. We're going to work on our diaphragmatic breathing here. So take a nice big breath in slowly and fully and see if you can feel your ribs expand or widen into your hands. And then take a long, slow breath out. You'll feel your hands come back in towards the middle of your spine. You'll feel your shoulders relax. You'll feel your belly begin to compress and draw in. Exhaling fully, and then again, breathing in. And don't try and, rather than trying to push your breath into your belly and protrude your belly out, see if you can focus on filling your ribs with breath and then letting your breath sort of spill over into the canister of your belly. And when you're all full, then take another nice, long, slow exhale. Take about 2 or 3 more like this at your own pace. Again, focusing your breath into your ribs, feeling your diaphragm drop and spread, and then letting your breath spill over into your belly, but not pushing it into your belly. But as you exhale, feel your belly rise and lift. Feel your pelvic floor lift. And feel your ribs hug back in towards the center. One more on your own. Good. And then take your hands off of your ribs and bring them out in front of you like you're holding 2 serving trays. We're going to take some wrist circles. And if you've noticed that one of your wrists feels more sore than the other, I invite you to do this one at a time. I'm going to demo 2 at a time, but again, you can take it one at a time. We'll start just by flexing and extending our wrists. So point your fingertips down to the mat and then point them up towards the ceiling. And just take this a few times back and forth, only moving within the space that feels tolerable and pain-free. So again, this is where I say, if you notice that you have more flexibility or range of motion on one side, then just split it up and do one at a time. All right, bring your hands back to the center now and swivel your hands side to side. So in and out. Again, only moving in the space of no pain. Good. And now we're going to take these 4 movements up and down and side to side and turn them into a circle. Slowly and gently, not pushing or striving, but just cultivating the space we have. Good. Switch the direction of your circle. Finding your breath in your ribs, even though your hands aren't there anymore. Good. And then stop your circles and let's come down onto hands and knees. Take maybe 2 or 3 rounds of cat and cow here. Let it be slow and curious. The theme of today's practice, this second video in our postpartum series, is remembering. Remembering what it feels like to be you in your body, even though so much of life has changed. Jesus' words from Luke 12, verse 7 come to mind where he says, "The very hairs of your head are all numbered. Do not be afraid." So friend, even if you can't remember what it feels like to be you, the very hairs of your head are all numbered. God knows. And Jesus says to us, don't be afraid. So in this unknowing, in this rediscovering, do not be afraid. Let's make our way slowly into downward dog, pedaling your heels, swaying your hips, remembering what it feels like to move in this miraculous body. All right, rather than walking our feet all the way to the top of our mat, let's be kind and let's meet ourselves halfway. So just sort of walk your feet towards the middle of your mat and then walk your hands back to the middle of your mat. So you're hanging in a forward fold, kind of in the center. If you want to grab your elbows here, you can and just sway side to side. Be careful not to lock your knees and round through your low back, but maybe put a tiny bend in your knees. Think about lifting up through the back of your legs so that your belly can come a bit closer to your thighs. Good. And then bring your hands up onto your thighs now and really slowly roll yourself all the way up to stand. Taking your time, and once you're fully upright, with an inhale, stretch your arms over your head, and as you exhale, bring your hands together at your heart. I'll take some side bends here, right? In mountain, if you want to now step to the top of your mat, go ahead. And on an inhale, stretch both arms up to the ceiling. As you exhale, lower your right hand down and stretch your left arm up and over. Now, if you want to just stay still like this, that's wonderful. If you want to maybe step your left foot behind your right to sort of deepen it, you can. If you want to move, you can. Movement helps us remember. So don't be afraid if this feels different, if this looks different, if it feels strange and unfamiliar. You are not just seen by a loving God, right, like we talked about in the last video, but you are known by a loving, present God. Come back upright, stretching both arms up and overhead. Just take it to the other side. Left hand down, right arm up and over. Any expression or variation that feels good helps you remember and tap back into your body. Really nice. On your next exhale, come back up to the center. Lift both arms up and overhead. And then as you exhale, fold back forwards. On your breath in, lift halfway up. So slide your hands up to your shins or your knees and flatten your back. So really lengthen, especially through your low back and through your chest. Bring your shoulder blades down your back. Look forward. Take another breath in here. And then as you exhale, fold back in half. Bring your hands to the floor and step back into a tabletop position. And then take 2 or 3 rounds of cat and cow on your own. Welcoming this new body. Remembering the faithfulness of God. Finding hope in the truth that you are known. Make your way back to downward facing dog. And we'll do one more slow round of the sun salutation before we wrap up this practice. So from your downward dog, Walk your hands to meet your feet to meet your hands, coming into a forward fold somewhere in the middle of your mat. Bring your hands up to your thighs and slowly press yourself all the way up to stand, reaching your arms over your head. And as you exhale, bring your hands together at your heart. Step forward to the top of your mat. And again, breathe in, reach your arms overhead. This time as you exhale, reach your arms back behind you and interlace your fingers. See if you can squeeze your palms together as you heavy your knuckles down and lift your chest up. Rather than jutting your ribs forward, can you use your exhale to hug your ribs back? Lift the top of your pelvis towards your low ribs so that you feel the sense of integration and strength in your core. Draw your chin in, lengthen through the back of your neck. Take one more breath in here. And then as you exhale, fold forward. You can keep your fingers interlaced like this if it feels good, or release them down. Good. If your hands are still interlaced, let them go. On your inhale, lift halfway up. As you exhale, hands to the floor, step back to tabletop. Inhale for cow. Exhale for cat. One more round just like that. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Good. Sit back either into child's pose or back onto your knees. We'll close the way we began, just settling into our breath, helping to regulate our nervous system, tap back into the known, felt presence of God. So if you're sitting upright and you want to hold the sides of your ribs, you can. If you're in child's pose, just bring your imagination and your proprioception to that space in the middle of your torso as you inhale, feeling your ribs expand, your chest expand, and then maybe your belly soften open a bit more, your pelvic floor relax. And as you exhale, feel your pelvic floor lift, your low belly draw in, your ribs start to compress back towards their neutral position. Take 3 more breaths like this. You may not feel like yourself. You may question if you ever will again. But the one who sees you knows you. Do not be afraid. God, we thank you for your eternal, abiding presence with us. Remind us that we are known by you, that the number of hairs on our head are numbered. That's how detailed and attentive you are. Help us to remember. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you so much for practicing with me today, friend. I really hope this practice replenished you, it nourished you, it filled your cup back up. Stay on the lookout for the 3rd and final video in this postpartum series, all about rebuilding. If you're not already following my channel, please go ahead and subscribe. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment telling me how you're feeling and how you feel in your body afterwards. And I look forward to meeting you back on your mat here again soon.